Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new DC Collectibles 7-inch scale Arrow figures Canary and shirtless Oliver Queen. Now, these figures come packaged in a very standardized window box packaging. We've got the white with green borders. The figure's clearly displayed in the packaging. You've got the Arrow logo down at the bottom, and then off to the side you have the name of the character. So Oliver Queen is number 1 and Canary is number 2, and you see the little number depicting what number in the series they are down below the character's name. Then on the side of the packaging you have images of the characters from the TV series. And then on the back we have a look at all 4 single carded figures in the Arrow line. So the 2 that were released this week were Canary and Oliver Queen, which we're going to look at today. And then there's a Deathstroke and an Arrow with basically a shirt and hood on, and it's also got the green mask. Now, we did several months ago get a 2-pack released with Arrow, and is listed as Deathstroke, is really, I think, Deathstroke's partner on the island that we first saw in the first season. But that Arrow figure had basically instead of the green mask, he had the green paint around his eyes. So the Arrow figure we've got coming in the single box series has actually got his Arrow with when he starts wearing the actual green mask. Okay, so let's get these figures open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside of the packaging. And I would have to say that both figures are pretty nice. As far as the Green Arrow figure goes, if you have the first Green Arrow figure that came in that 2-pack a couple months ago, I'm not sure how much need you really have for this second figure unless you've just been dying to have a figure of the actor without a shirt on or something. The figure for the most part is pretty identical to that figure minus the shirt, hood, and green paint around the eyes. Same accessories, except this one does come with the totem with the Deathstroke mask and the arrow sticking through it, like we saw on the island that Oliver was stranded on. So and it is a cool looking accessory and all, but other than that, there's, again, the figure itself is pretty much sculpt wise and articulation wise is the same. Same bow and same arrow, same kind of quiver, same little arrow satchel on the side. So, but in the detail is okay on it. The face sculpt on the Oliver Queen figure, it's got a resemblance to the actor, but when you really kind of start looking at it, it doesn't look that much like the actual actor. Unfortunately, they could have probably done a little bit better job with the likeness there. But the skin tones on the upper body, I think, came out looking pretty good. The tattoo work on the figure is nice. So all in all, like I said, good figure. But really, I really like the Canary figure that they've done here. This is obviously the first time we're getting Canary, and this is I don't want to give too many spoilers up, though. I hope if you're buying this figure, you've probably been watching the show. So but I will say that this is based on the first Canary, the Sarah Lance version. And I do think the detail on this figure, I think the likeness, I think they've done a really good job with the likeness on the face. I mean, granted, she is wearing a mask, but I still think that they've done a really nice job with the likeness on this one. The detail overall, I think, is really nice, and she comes with some decent accessories, and the articulation is good, which we'll look at closer in just a moment. Okay, so here's a closer look at the face sculpt, and again, I think they've done a really good job of capturing the overall likeness of the character, Sarah Lance, as Canary. I like the detailing on the costume, like the strings on the pants, and then on the back of the jacket, I think look good. She's got these pouches on her sides that are glued onto the belt. The jacket's done where like the arm parts of the jacket are sculpted on the figure, and then the upper, or the part of the jacket that's on the body is kind of a separate piece that's glued on, and you've got that kind of flexible vinyl material up around the collars like we see with capes and stuff in this line. The hair is also, the long strands of the hair is also very flexible with that rubbery kind of material, so it doesn't restrict her head movement too much. Now, one thing I will note is you do notice some kind of skin tones under the jacket where the sculpted part of the jacket on the arm meets the part on the body. You can see some skin tones underneath there, so that's a little bit off, but not major. You kind of have to really look for it to really notice it. Also, there's maybe a few paint splotches on my figure on the shirt area, or it looks like maybe some of the skin tone has bled through a little bit. It's not too noticeable, but if you look at it really closely, you can see it. I like the detail on the boots. I think they've done a nice job with the boots, the buckles on the sides, and just the paint wash on the boots. I think, you know, those come out looking really good. So Canary comes with 2 accessories. She comes with a bow staff, and it's just done in a silver metallic. It's got some notches sculpted on it for her to hold. Now she holds the staff better in her left hand than in her right. Her right hand sculpted a little too open, so she doesn't hold it very tight in the right hand, but you can get her to hold it nice and tight in her left hand. And she can double hold it, so you can actually have her, you know, pose it and holding in both hands if you wanted to. And then the other accessory that she comes with is that little scream box thing that she uses that kind of mimics her scream powers. You know, she doesn't actually have superpowers of any kind, so she has this little thing that she carries around and drops, and it like emits a sonic type scream to stun her opponents, and so they've provided that as well. And she can hold that in her right hand. Arrow figure, as I mentioned, basically comes with the same accessories that arrow figure in the 2-pack came with. Came with the bundled arrows, then it comes with 2 separate arrows that all will fit in his quiver. He comes with the same kind of bow that first arrow figure came with. And then the one thing that he comes with different that the other one did not is that totem with the Deathstroke mask. And again, this is a really kind of cool looking accessory. I like the paint work on it. It's, you know, the tattered look at the bottom of the mask is really cool looking, and it's got the arrow that sticks through the one eye. So the detail on this I think is really cool and makes for kind of a cool display piece. Now, Arrow, as I mentioned, I don't think the likeness on this figure is that great. It's got a passing resemblance, but it's certainly not dead on. And the only other area where maybe a little bit of a weirdness with the paint is, for some reason, they've given him kind of orange nipples. I don't know why, but his nipples on this figure are basically kind of a yellow-orange color. But other than that, I think the paint detail, the skin tones, for the most part, are really nice on this figure. He's definitely not too pale. The tattoo work is nice. And then the washes on his pants and everything, which the lower part of the body figure is, again, pretty much the same as that the Arrow we got in that 2-pack. Okay, so articulation on this figure is pretty good. Her head's on a ball joint, so she can look left or right. And again, because her hair's got that flexibility, it doesn't really restrict the movement of her head. She's got a little bit of up and down movement, more down than up. Arms are attached at ball hinge joints, so she's got good rotation there. She can get her arm all the way out. Single hinged elbow. She also has a rotation at the elbow, and that's about as much as she can bend her elbow. And then she has swivel wrists with the hinges, so she can get her hands up and down in a good motion. She does have a midsection swivel joint. Not much in the way of crunch there, but she does have the swivel. She does not have a waist swivel. Legs are attached with ball joints, so she can do the splits about that much. She can get her leg forward about that much, and then she can kind of do her leg out and back. She does not have a thigh swivel. She does have a double jointed knee though, so she's got really good bending at the knee. She does not have a boot swivel, but she does have the ankle pivot. So good ankle pivot there, and then 2 peg holes on the bottom of her feet. And then for the Arrow figure, the articulation on this figure is almost identical to what we saw in that first Arrow figure in the 2-pack. The only real difference is that figure had a midsection joint, and this one does not, basically because he doesn't have the shirt on, but he does have a waist swivel, whereas that one did not have the waist swivel. But otherwise, articulation is pretty much the same. Ball joint, he's got good, he can look down pretty good, and he can look up a little bit, and he's got good rotation. His arms are attached with ball hinge joints at the shoulder, so he's got good rotation, can get his arm out good there. Single hinged elbow, but can bend it pretty good, and then has the swivel and the hinge joints at the wrists to help him hold his bow and arrow. And his hands are sculpted so he can hold his bow in his left hand, and then the string and the arrow in his right hand. He has the midsection swivel, as I mentioned, but no midsection joint. Legs are on those weird hinges, so he can do the splits good. You do see kind of some separation when you're moving the leg, though, there at the joint, which looks a little funny. But again, this is exactly the way it was on the first arrow figure, so really no difference there. Does not have a thigh swivel, has the hinged knee, single hinged knee, and also has rotation there at the knee. Has a boot swivel, and then has the hinge at the feet, and he has a little bit of a pivot, not as good as the Canary figure, but does have some pivot. And then he has one peg hole in the bottom of his foot. Okay, so scale-wise, these figures seem to be in pretty good scale with one another. The Canary figure stands at just about 6.5 inches tall, and then the Arrow figure stands a little bit over 6.5 inches tall, but not quite 7 inches. So that's my review. Overall, I like these figures. I definitely like the Canary figure. If you've been collecting these Arrow figures, then I definitely think you're going to want to add the Canary figure to your collection. The Arrow figure, if you have that first Arrow figure, I'm not sure there's a huge need for this one. The extra accessory with the mask on the totem is definitely a cool display piece, so it might be worth getting that figure just for that. Or like I said, if you've just been dying to have a figure of the actor without a shirt on, then you might want to pick it up as well. You know, maybe for the ladies, I don't know. But both figures are decent. Some minor, paint blemishes here and there, but overall they're very solid figures. Good articulation. The likeness could be better on the Arrow figure, but I definitely think the likeness is pretty good on the Canary one. And that is definitely the nicer of the two figures in this assortment. These figures are hitting shelves now, so if you want to add them to your collection, check your comic and specialty shops. And that's my review. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.